Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. The Rasa Dance introduction is the chapter we're reading today. Has everyone found the place? Actually, even thinking of the demigods cannot compare with thinking of Krishna. That's the sentence we're beginning with. Yeah, I can see some heads nodding. Okay. And I can see lots of blank screens with names also. If you are able to put your camera on, it would be much appreciated. We can all have Sangha together that way. So as usual, if you can put your name and a number in the chat box for reading, then we can all read together. It's very nice. Jay Prakash Prabhu, would you like to start us off?
Very well, everybody. Actually, even thinking of the demigods cannot compare with thinking of Krishna. It is warned in the Vaishnava Tantra that one who puts Vishnu, Narayan or Krishna on the same level as the demigods is called a Pasandi or rascal. On hearing this question from Maharaj Parikshit, Shukdev Goswami replied, "My dear king, your question is already answered even before this incident. Because Parikshit Maharaj wanted to clear up the situation, his spiritual master answered him very intelligently. Why are you again asking about the same subject matter, which has already been explained to you? Why are you so forgetful? A spiritual master is always in the superior position, so he has the right to chastise his disciple in this way." Sukadeva Goswami knew that Maharaj Parikshit asked the question not for his own understanding, but as a warning to the future innocent people who might think others to be equal to Krishna.
Okay. So this was kind of continuing from last week. It was a bit of a cliffhanger we left on. So just as a recap, we went back to the conversation of Parikshit Maharaj with Sukadeva Goswami. And Parikshit Maharaj, he had asked a question. He said, the gopis did not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They accepted him as a beautiful boy and considered him to be their paramour. So how is it possible for them to get freed from the material condition just by thinking of a paramour? So in other words, if someone doesn't know Krishna is God, then do they still get the benefit of him being God, relating with him? Huh? If they just think that he's an ordinary living being, do they still get the same benefit? Or do they still get the same benefit of relating with God? So, in answer to that, because now we are 10 cantos into the Bhagavatam, this Krishna book is the 10th canto summary study. So, on asking this question, Sukadeva Goswami becomes he becomes angry. He becomes ready to chastise his disciple. Yeah. And he says that, why are you so forgetful? Why are you asking this when you should already know? After hearing 9 cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam, you're asking this? Of course, there's another reason why Parikshit is asking this, is because he's asking for our benefit. Yeah. And so then Sukadeva Goswami does clarify the situation. Okay. Another point in here is that thinking of, if one does think of Krishna as an ordinary living being, or as even thinking of Krishna or Vishnu as a demigod, one thinks of the Lord as a demigod or as a human being, the person is called a Pashandi. Pashandi actually means atheist, you know. Prabhupada is translated as rascal here, or atheist is another word. Because why that term atheist is used, even if someone thinks of God as a demigod, they're considered an atheist. It's quite a strong statement, isn't it? Yeah. Because actually they don't know who God is, that's why. If they mixing up that God is a demigod, or that God is a soul, they have a not a clear understanding of who's actually God. So someone who doesn't have a good understanding of God can be considered to be like an atheist. They don't accept him as a supreme. They don't worship him. They don't worship Krishna or Vishnu as a supreme. So it's like marginalizing the position of God. So that's considered to be a Pashandi. So let's continue reading and we'll find out what Sukadeva Goswami's answer is. He gives a wonderful explanation of this answer to this question of, you know, if the gopis they relate with Krishna as an ordinary person, even though he's God, what would be the result of that? So Prabhu can continue reading.
Sukadeva Goswami then reminded Parikshit Maharaj about the salvation of Shishupal. Shishupal was always envious of Krishna, and because of his envy, Krishna killed him. But since Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shishupal gained salvation simply by seeing him. If an envious person can get salvation simply by concentrating his mind on Krishna, then what to speak of the gopis who are so dear to Krishna and always think of him in love? There may be some difference between the enemies and the friends. If Krishna's enemies could be freed from the material contaminations and become one with the Supreme, then certainly his dear friends like the gopis can achieve such freedom and much more.
Thank you, Prabhu. So this is a wonderful example he's giving to answer the question. Yeah. So whose example does Shukadeva Goswami give of someone who relates with Krishna without accepting Krishna as God?
Shishupal.
That's right, yeah. And what was the story of Shishupal? Just for a reminder, does everybody know this story? If you could put your hand up if you know the story of Shishupal.
He was envious of Krishna.
He was envious of Krishna, yeah. Can you summarize that story? The moment in the story? Shishupal? Do you remember?
Only not the full story, probably. So if someone else wants to, I mean, I know how Krishna took his head off after Shishupal insulted him 100 times. But I can't remember the whole story.
Yeah, that's
I mean, starting from Jai Vijay, do you want to start from Jai Vijay and the third birth as Shishupal?
No, I just wanted the essential part of the story. Otherwise, we'll go on a completely different topic. But that was it. You mentioned it. That Krishna did cut his head off, isn't it? Krishna cut off Shishupal's head. Yeah. What was the condition on which Krishna would kill Shishupal? Does anyone know?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I think it was.
We're getting echo from
it was certain amount of offenses, he say, like within there was a limited offense Krishna would tolerate, and if he went one above it, Krishna would kill him. So I think when the Rajashya Yagna was getting done, he that was his last offense, and when he I can't remember the number of offense he had to commit, and constantly, like since Shishupal was born, he was offending Krishna. And I think when he was born, he was like when they did the reading of the hand, the mom was told that, you know, he will be offensive and Krishna will kill him. So, you know, that was the reason he was quite offensive all the time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So in the beginning of the pastime, from Shishupal's birth, Shishupal was Krishna's younger cousin, by the way.
Yeah.
When he was a teenager, he went to visit Shishupal, and they read the astrology, and it was said that he would be his enemy. So his mother got afraid, Shishupal's mother. So Krishna said, I will allow him 100 offenses. And if he goes beyond that, then, you know, I'll have to react, because 100 is a good number of offenses someone can make to you. So then in that arena, the Rajasuya, he made 100 offenses. And then Krishna did as he promised, he cut his head off. So why is Sukadeva Goswami giving this example? Why do you think Sukadeva Goswami is giving this example in relation to the gopis, who also didn't relate with Krishna as God? They just thought he was a beautiful boy in their village.
Is it something to do with how absorbed your mind is on Krishna? So whether it is in devotion or whether it is in hate, if your mind is constantly absorbed in Krishna, then there's liberation, because Krishna is equal to all. Yeah. Don't know if I explained it properly.
No, that was perfect. Did everybody understand? It makes sense? Yeah. No matter how you relate to Krishna, the point is we should, you know, when we relate to Krishna, in whichever way, in whichever service we're doing, we should fully be thinking this is for Krishna. We should be thinking how wonderful Krishna is, all the wonderful things that he does. So that's not an easy thing, because, you know, we can do service. Many times we do service and, you know, we've got other things going on in our mind, isn't it? Yeah. But as I said here, even being envious of Krishna is better than just, you know, doing some service while your mind is here, there, and everywhere. Of course, the devotional service is progressive, no doubt. But it's actually the remembrance of Krishna which liberates us. Yeah. So wonderful example given there by Sukadeva Goswami. Does anyone else want to share anything or questions from this section? Otherwise, we can move forward. Ajay Prakash Prabhu, would you mind?
Besides that, in the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna is called Rishikesh. Sukadeva Goswami also said that Krishna is Rishikesha, the super soul, whereas an ordinary man is a conditional soul covered by the material body. Krishna and Krishna's body are the same because he is Rishikesh. Any person making the distinction between Krishna and Rishikesha, any person making a distinction between Krishna and Rishikesha, Krishna's body is the full number one. Krishna is Rishikesha and Adokshaja. These two particular words have been used by Sukadeva Goswami in this instance. Rishikesha is the super soul and Adokshaja is the supreme personality of Godhead, transcendental to the material nature. Just to show favor to the ordinary living entities, out of his causeless mercy, he appears as he is. Unfortunately, foolish persons mistake him to be an ordinary person, and so they become eligible to go to hell.
Yes. Special guest.
Oh, someone's very excited.
That's a lovely sound to hear there.
Yeah.
Sorry, so there's a...
You are funny.
Who are you seeing there?
You are the funniest. Mama, that one is the funniest one.
She gets excited when she sees her daddy on the screen. All right. So there's two names of Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita, which Prabhupada brings up here. What are those two names?
The Rishikesha and Adokshaja.
Right. So Adokshaja we spoke about just a couple of weeks ago. Does anyone remember what Adokshaja means? It's okay if you don't. Or can you have a guess? So Adokshaja has an interesting meaning. It's Prabhupada gave a very interesting explanation to this word. He said Ado means the first letter of the alphabet, Akshara, yeah. And then the last, sorry, Ado is the first letter, and then Aksha is the last letter of the alphabet. In Sanskrit, like we have A to Z, you know, in English, A is the first letter, Z is the last. So sometimes we just say A to Z, isn't it? And if we're going somewhere, it's in the A to Z. Everything is in A to Z, isn't it? So this term, Adokshaja, is saying that Krishna is beyond the A to Z, you know, it's beyond our vocabulary, it's beyond our understanding. It's literally meaning in that way. Krishna is inconceivable. That's basically what it means. He's outside of the A to Z of understanding anything. So that's one term used here, and Prabhupada refers to another one, which is Rishikesha. Does anyone know what that one means? Again, this word is made of two parts. Has anyone heard of this term before, Rishikesha?
I've heard the name, but I'm not sure. Is it the controller of senses?
Yeah, that's right. The control of the senses. Yeah. So there are two people involved in devotional service. There's Krishna and the devotee, isn't it? For devotional service to happen, there's two. So Krishna is called Rishikesha, the master of the senses or the controller of the senses. And the devotee is called Rishikena, the one who is serving with his senses. So when we use, the meaning is that when we use our senses to serve Krishna, then Krishna is pleased because he is the one who the senses are supposed to be used for. Whereas if we use our senses just to serve ourselves, that won't give pleasure to Krishna. And then ultimately we also won't feel pleasure. We won't feel, you know, it won't touch the soul. The pleasure that we experience won't touch the soul. It will only be experienced in the senses. It will only be experienced in the mind. But it doesn't actually go soul deep. Yeah. So we won't actually experience bliss. So material pleasure is like that. And spiritual pleasure which pleases Krishna, that's blissful. So the reason that these two terms are used is because now Shukadeva Goswami is giving a bit more of like an analysis. He's saying that it doesn't matter how you relate to Krishna's senses, his body is spiritual. Yeah, that's why his name is Rishikesha. And you can't understand how Krishna is pleased with how much you relate to him because he's Adokshaja, he's beyond understanding. The relationship that one has with Krishna, it's inconceivable how Krishna can relate to each and every one of us. So therefore his name is Adokshaja. Yeah. So then the paragraph finishes with so Krishna is actually coming to this world just to give us favor, just to be kind to us. Yeah. So now if someone comes and does something kind to you, you know, they say they give you a nice meal or something, and then you just throw it back in their face. Yeah. That's this is how it's considered that atheists are reciprocating with Krishna. They're just kind of throwing it back at him, ignoring him. So then it finishes with a strong statement that such a person is eligible to go to hell.
I like to mention one thing. Krishna is kind to everyone. He's not a partial.
Yes. Krishna is actually kind to everyone. He's coming here for everyone's benefit. He's not coming here only for the benefit of some. Yada yada dharmasya glane bharati bharati adbhuta nama dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Krishna personally descends from the spiritual world to establish dharma for everyone. He's giving dharma to everybody. Dharma samstapakanataya. He comes to establish dharma for everyone. Only some people, because this world is full of duality, some people accept it. Yeah. So they're called sadhu, and then some people don't accept it. They're called, the atheist. They don't accept it. So Krishna is equal to everyone, but we relate with him in different ways. Okay then. Is there anyone else who would like to read? Jay Prakash Prabhu could continue maybe a little bit more, and then if we can have some more readers, that would be nice.
Sukdev Goswami continued to inform Maharaj Parikshit that Krishna is not an ordinary person, but rather the Supreme Personality of Godhead, imperishable, immeasurable, and without any material qualities, but full of all spiritual qualities. He appears in this material world out of his causeless mercy. And whenever he appears as he is, without change. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad-Gita, where the Lord says that he appears by his spiritual potency. He does not appear under the control of material potency. The material potency is under his control. In the Bhagavad-Gita, it is stated that the material potency is working under his superintendence. It is also confirmed in the Brahma Samhita that the material potency known as Durga is acting just like a shadow, which moves with the movement of the substance. The conclusion is that if one somehow or other becomes attached to Krishna or attracted to him, either because of his qualities of beauty, opulence, fame, strength, renunciation, or knowledge, through affection or friendship, or even through lust, anger, or fear, then one's salvation and freedom from material contaminations are assured.
So the same point is being stressed again here. That doesn't matter how one relates to Krishna in any one of these ways. Yeah, somehow we have to become attached to Krishna. Yeah. So that Prabhupada substantiates by referring to so many verses in Bhagavad-Gita, the Brahma Samhita. Yeah. So we can maybe go through some of these in a little bit of detail, just to see what Prabhupada is referring to. So first, Prabhupada references Bhagavad-Gita. He says that the Lord says he appears by his spiritual potency. So this is mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita 7:25. This is a key verse in Bhagavad-Gita. Yeah. So Krishna says, Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita mudayam nabajayananti lokamam ajam avyayam. He says, I'm never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So what Krishna is saying is that when he comes to this world, he's not born like an ordinary person. He's born from his own spiritual energy, not born in material energy. Krishna never touches the material energy. So actually those who were around Krishna at the time, they couldn't recognize that he was God because they were covered by material potency. They couldn't see that Krishna was God. Yeah. So we can see how Maharaj Parikshit's question is benefiting us, you see, because we need to understand this before we go into understanding the Rasa Leela. Without understanding this and just jumping into the Rasa Leela, it's very easy to actually offend Krishna and or offend the activities of Krishna. And we don't want to do that, isn't it? We don't want to be an offender to Krishna. So it's important to understand who is Krishna first before just diving into the sweet pastimes of the Rasa Leela. Then another statement Prabhupada makes from Bhagavad-Gita is that the material potency is working under his superintendence. Yeah, what does superintendence mean? Does anyone know? You know, like in the police, they have a rank as well, like that, superintendent. Has anyone heard that before? So Prabhupada is kind of borrowing some of these terms from the English language so that we can understand Krishna's position. What do you think it would mean, superintendent?
It's above something.
Yeah, so Krishna doesn't directly mingle with all the details of this world. He is a superintendent. Just by his intent, just by his intention, everything can happen. Krishna just thinks the world should be like this, and all the rules fall into place, and then all the personalities who are involved in maintaining those laws of nature, they take part in preserving the laws of the world in service to Krishna. Yeah. So it doesn't matter actually what Krishna does, because he's not under the laws of the material nature. But for someone who cannot see that, they just think that Krishna's activities are degraded, or they're inconceivable to these people, because they don't actually know that Krishna's activities are transcendental, and that Krishna can have all kinds of activities which are transcendental. Even joking and enjoying with the gopis. Then Prabhupada refers to the Brahma Samhita, where he says, it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita that the material potency known as Durga is acting just like a shadow which moves with the movement of the substance. Yeah. So that quote is taken from Brahma Samhita 5:44. Yeah. So just to summarize what that means, one way of looking at it is like if you have the hand and a glove, you put the glove over the hand, the glove moves the way that the hand moves, isn't it? Yeah. So the glove is like Maya Devi. She's covering the spiritual potency of this world. Yeah. Nothing can be alive in this world. There's no activity in this world if the spirit soul is not in this world. If there's no spirit in this world. But we can't see spirit, just like we can't see the hand which is in the glove. Why? Because Durga Devi, she covers everything over us, you see. So then Prabhupada gives this example of like a shadow and a substance. Or like you have a shadow, and if the body moves, then the shadow moves, isn't it? It just does what the shadow just does what the body does. Yeah. So just like that, the soul is live in the body. Because the soul is there, the body moves, otherwise the body doesn't move. This is another point. Okay, so I think we've covered this. Anyone have any questions on this paragraph? Comments? Okay, then maybe Shamrani Mataji can read next.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In the Bhagavad-Gita, 18th chapter, the Lord also states that one who is engaged in preaching Krishna consciousness is very dear to him. A preacher has to face many difficulties in his struggle to preach pure Krishna consciousness. Sometimes he has to suffer bodily injuries, and sometimes he has to meet death also. All this is taken as a great austerity on behalf of Krishna. Krishna, therefore, has said that such a preacher is very, very dear to him. If Krishna's enemies can expect salvation simply by concentrating their minds on him, then what to speak of persons who are so dear to Krishna? The conclusion should be that the salvation of those who are engaged in preaching Krishna consciousness in the world is guaranteed in all circumstances. But such preachers never care for salvation, because factually one who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, devotional service, has already achieved salvation. Sukadeva Goswami therefore assured King Parikshit that he should always rest assured that one attracted by Krishna attains liberation from material bondage, because Krishna is the transcendental master of all mystic power.
Thank you, Mataji. Any comments or questions on this section now? Yes, Mataji.
I just like to point out the preaching, engaging in preaching Krishna consciousness is the difficult one.
Difficult, yes, yeah.
And it is, especially when I see devotees at Oxford Street, Soho Street preaching the books, distributing books, lots of people just ignore and walk away, and they still keep trying to distribute the books and things. So it's, I think, the difficult one. I haven't done it, but I'll see if I can try sometime.
Yes, but for the book to get into the hand of that person, there's so many things that happen before that preacher is holding the book to give to them, isn't it? So we can understand there's actually a whole movement behind this person who's giving the book to someone who doesn't know about Krishna. So anything which can be connected to help and assist that can also be considered preaching. Yeah, it's not just the person who's standing on the street. So we don't have to do the standing on the street only. There are so many aspects to it, isn't it? Like that devotee may collect money, someone has to be there counting the money, so that they can print the books. Someone else is with the money, they're printing the book, someone is doing the artwork for the books, someone is doing the transcript for the books, someone is stocking the books, someone is transporting the books. So there's a lot of things. And then also the temple is maintained through the books. If someone goes and reads the book, where will they go? They have to come to the temple and meet the devotee. So the temple has to be maintained. Yeah. And then not only the temple, if we take, say, Bhaktivedanta Manor, for example, where they have got a farm, then we want to show people what the Vedic way of life is. We have cows, So it's all connected. So we can take part in anything which suits us, which suits our nature. Krishna consciousness is possible for everyone. It doesn't only mean that someone who can sell books is a preacher. Yeah. Does it make more sense that way? If we see it all in that way, yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
We should try to see how we're doing something which is connected to Prabhupada's mission and movement.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. I had asked the same question to a very senior devotee, and they gave me a similar answer that, because I am one of those person who can't do books distribution. So they said, even if you make prasadam or you pack up the books during a marathon, when they have the book marathon, they need a lot of help in packing up, because they do packages of books and they tie the ribbons on it, or people who are going for book distribution, you can make cakes, or you can make some coconut sweets which they distribute. So all this is part of book distribution. So this is the answer I was told, that even if you can't distribute book, but if you can be part of that thing where you can basically, if you are helping in packing up or helping prasadam or they go book distribution for whole days, so make prasadam for the devotees. So this can all be a background of, preaching. This is the answer I was given by senior disciple.
So you see, any aspect of Srila Prabhupada's movement, the whole movement, even the term movement, is to move people from being non-devotee to being devotee. So anywhere we are connected in the movement of someone becoming a devotee, that makes us very dear to Krishna. Why is that? So the answer is there because just like we read in the previous paragraph, only someone who's attached to Krishna, they can actually try, actually they're motivated to do something for Krishna's service. Yeah, in any aspect of the movement, anywhere in the movement, because we are motivated to do something for Krishna, because we have some love for Krishna, we want to do something for him, we will help move people from becoming non-devotee to devotee. Yeah, because we're appreciating Krishna, and Krishna appreciates that so much. Krishna says you're guaranteed to go back to Godhead. We're helping in this movement.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, even on a material platform, when you want to sell something, you have to attract people, isn't it? And you find different sources. So similarly, when you do book distribution, and as you said, any aspect, to attract the people, like Chamaklata Mataji said, they make a bundle of the books and then they put the ribbon on it, to attract the people. Similarly, she makes some cupcakes or sweet to distribute along with her book distribution. So this also attracts the people,
Yeah. The book is the hook,
Yeah.
The book, they hook people in. They look at the book, they read it, Some people read it, they don't understand it. Some people read it and they understand it. But no matter what, if they appreciate the book, if they come to the temple, they have got some attraction. They've been hooked in somehow. But then there's more that has to be there to keep attracting that person. If the deities in the temple are very attractive, then people become attracted also. If the prasadam is attractive, then people come also. If the devotee's behavior is attractive, they're respectful and courteous and so on, then the person is attracted to Krishna. So all of these things, you see, have to attract someone to Krishna.
Sometimes they have a book, they haven't read it, but other time when someone talk about that book and they say, oh, I have got that book. And they feel proud, They haven't read it, but they feel proud. Oh, I have got that book.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to add one thing that, when we had this Sunday feast classes, and often they used to say, who is the first timer? And you'd get so many people often after the sun. Now it stopped, but when it was Sunday feast, we used to go regularly at Soho Temple, and they would say, who's the first time comer? And you'd get some people raising hand. And I remember a couple of times, one lady came somewhere from Brighton or somewhere, and somebody had got the book, Prabhupada's book, and they had it on the shelf. And I think her parents passed away or something. And she got hold of the book, read the book, and came. So even if the person who doesn't take the book don't read it, they leave it in the house, somebody will take it. So you hear so many of these stories, and there was one really nice story about a devotee who was I think he was a worker, and he was going to throw this melon. He was eating a melon. He was going to throw it in the bin, the skin, and he saw the book, and somebody must have left it or something. He took the book, read it, and he became a devotee and a book distributor. So there's so many nice stories. Even if they take the book and they don't use it themselves, somebody else does it. So, I mean, it's all glories to people who distribute the books.
Yes, so so why is Prabhupada bringing this point up here? Is because one has to be attracted to Krishna to be, engaged in the movement, in the preaching movement, in any way possible. It's not that someone has to be good at a material activity, not that someone has to be good at sales, or someone has to be good at, packaging and transportation of books. Not any aspect of the movement, even by someone's good behavior, then they can attract people to Krishna, because the person themselves has to be attracted to Krishna. They're going to be in the movement, part of the movement. So this is attracted to Krishna. Krishna who is like unconquerable. He becomes conquered by the attractive qualities of his devotees. So this is the point. And because the devotees are very attractive, people become attracted to Krishna also. So in the next paragraph, we'll go into this Leela now, after understanding these various points. And so Shamrani Mataji will take us through this.
Hare Krishna. When all the gopis assembled, as described before Krishna, he began to speak to them, welcoming them as well as discouraging them by word jugglery. Krishna is the supreme speaker. He is the speaker of the Bhagavad-Gita. He can speak on the highest elevated subjects of philosophy, politics, economics, everything. And he also spoke before the gopis who were so dear to him. He wanted to enchant them by word jugglery. And thus he began to speak as follows.
Okay, so Krishna is one particular quality is being brought out here. He's very good at speaking. Doesn't matter what he speaks, whatever he speaks, he's the best at it. So Krishna, of course, in Bhagavad-Gita, he's speaking like a preacher. But he's not speaking to the gopis like a preacher. The gopis are already attracted to Krishna. So Krishna is being very contrary here. He's giving them like all kinds of confusing, he's basically confusing them because they're feeling so attracted to him. So he's going to have a fun time with them by bewildering them. So let's continue reading then.
O ladies of Vrindavan, Krishna said, you are very fortunate and you are very dear to me. I'm very pleased that you have come here, and I hope everything is well in Vrindavan. Now please order me. What can I do for you? What is the purpose of coming here in this dead of night? Kindly take your seats and let me know what I can do for you.
So the thing which stuck out to me from this paragraph is that Krishna is saying, first of all, he's saying, he's really giving the exalted position of the gopis. Actually, no one glorifies Krishna more than the gopis. So we spoke about how dear the preacher is to Krishna. But there's no one who speaks more sweetly about Krishna than the gopis, because they're speaking directly to Krishna themselves about his sweetness. So he says that you're very fortunate, you're very dear to me, I'm very pleased with you. So he's really, making them feel very good first. And then even Krishna says, please order me. What can I do for you? You see? He's so enchanting, Krishna, isn't he? Yeah. But do you think it will continue like that? Maybe not. Okay. So this is something about Krishna's personality. Okay. And this is why this is the supreme secret. This cannot be told to everyone. We just read in the previous paragraph that this is very confidential. It can only be told those who are actually devotees of Krishna. Only devotees of Krishna can discuss these subject matters about Krishna's personality. So in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami is expert in understanding Krishna's personality. So Krishna is going to use a particular type of personality trait. He used different personality types. He has different personalities. He's the supreme personality of Godhead. So he can reflect any type of personality. So one type of personality which Krishna is personifying here is that Krishna is Dhira Lalita. Krishna is known as Dhira Lalita. So Dhira Lalita means that Krishna is very he's very submissive to his devotee. He's very enchanting. Yeah. And he's also very playful in his words. Yeah. So this aspect of Krishna's personality is very confidential, how Krishna behaves as Dhira Lalita. So this is what we're going to read about now. Okay, Mataji.
The gopis had come to Krishna to enjoy his company, to dance with him, embrace him and kiss him. And when Krishna began to receive them very officially, showing all kinds of etiquette, they were surprised. He was treating them as ordinary society women. Therefore, they began to smile among themselves, and they were very eagerly listened to Krishna talk in that way. When he saw that they were smiling at him, he said, "My dear friends, you must know now that it is the dead of night, and the forest is very dangerous. At this time, all the ferocious jungle animals, the tigers, the bear, jackals, and wolves, are prowling in the forest. Therefore, it is very dangerous for you. You cannot select a secure place now. Everywhere you go, you will find that all these animals are luxuriating to find their prey. I think, therefore, you are taking a great risk in coming here in the dead of night. Please turn back immediately without delay."
So we should try and relate here to how Krishna is behaving with the gopis, and we should try to relate to how the gopis are relating to how the gopis are responding to Krishna in some way. See, because in the beginning here, Krishna is being the perfect host. If someone speaks to you and says, you're so wonderful, you have all these wonderful qualities, you do all these wonderful things, please have a seat here, what can I do for you? Krishna is starting off in that way, like a wonderful host. But then Krishna goes on to say, what are you doing here? It's the dead of the night. They've sat down comfortably. Krishna's hosted them. And now, what are you doing here? It's so dangerous. What did you think would happen if you came out here and there's ferocious animals? They're looking for prey. He's changed his tone completely. And Krishna is now saying, go back home immediately. You come here to see me. Appreciate you in all these ways, but just go home now. Okay. So you can see how, because the gopis are feeling very pleased that Krishna was, showing all this wonderful etiquette to them. They were surprised and, pleased. And now Krishna has turned around and said, it's very dangerous here. Okay. So, seeing if anyone has any comments.
Yes, the way Krishna talks to gopis, gopis know that they are safe as long as Krishna is with them. But on Krishna's side, the way he talks to gopis, like he's an ordinary person, one of them.
Yes.
Neither he's a supreme, nor he can save everyone. He's not showing that, or he's not telling that,
Yeah, he doesn't show that part. That's right.
I-
So actually,
think-
Krishna is like pulling on their emotions, you see,
Yeah.
making them feel one way and then making them feel another way. He's actually pulling on their emotions.
I think he's just teasing them as well, isn't he? Because he's just charmingly teasing them.
Right. So he's charming them. So this is the meaning of Dhira Lilita. Okay. Okay. I think Shamarani Mataji has to go for a moment. If there's no one else who could read, I'll read. When he saw that they continued to smile, he said, I very much appreciate your bodily features. All of you have nice, very thin waists. All of the gopis there were exquisitely beautiful. They are described by the word Su Madhyama. The standard of beauty of a woman is said to be Su Madhyama, when the middle portion of the body is slender. So again, now Krishna has changed his tact. Yeah. Again, because they're still, he's told them, he's sat them down comfortably, then he's frightened them, but they're not afraid. They're very, still happy. They're still smiling, as Prabhu said. They're fine there with Krishna. They've got nothing to worry about. So now Krishna is again speaking to them very sweetly. Yes. So he's using this word Su Madhyama, which means, and Prabhupada, you see this in many places, uses this term slender waisted of beauty. So Krishna's gopis are the most beautiful persons of all creation. Yeah. Because naturally they're there for Krishna's pleasure. So of course they will be the most beautiful. So we cannot have actually any understanding of how attractive the gopis are. So Krishna is actually very attracted to the gopis, and they're completely surrendered to him. Okay. So how does Krishna's speech continue from here? Shamarani Mataji, would you like to continue reading?
Okay, Prabhu, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Krishna wanted to impress on them that they were not old enough to take care of themselves. Actually, they required protection. It was not very wise for them to come in the dead of night to Krishna. Krishna also indicated that he was young and that they were young girls. It does not look very well for young girls and boys to remain together in the dead of night. After hearing this advice, the gopis did not seem very happy. Therefore, Krishna began to stress the point in a different way.
So first he welcomes them, then he frightens them, then he says how they're so beautiful and how he's attracted to them. And now Krishna is saying, now this doesn't look very good that you're here. Like you're very beautiful girls and I'm a very, handsome boy. What do you think people will say about us? He's trying to, come at this from a different point. He's trying to make them feel bad in a different way now. Okay. So this is what it means to relate with Krishna, as the gopis are doing. And so this is how they're so attracted to Krishna, because he's so wonderful with all these charming ways that he's attracting them.
Yeah, time to time it seems like Krishna is testing them, what they think about him, or how much they trust him, or how much they rely on him.
Yes, that's right. Krishna tests the gopis more than he can test anyone. Huh?
Yes.
He tests their pride. He tests their lust, their pride, their greed. All these different qualities, because they have completely spiritual qualities. He tests all their spiritual qualities to the maximum.
And he was only 8 years old at the time, wasn't he, Prabhu? During the Ras Leela, Krishna.
You're asking? Do you have a comment in addition to that?
Yeah, no, I'm just because I missed a few classes. So he was 8 years old at the time, was he? Or was he 10?
Yeah, materially speaking, or in terms of the sequence of the pastimes, he'd passed 8 years of life. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And the gopis, were they? So were they his playmates, the ones who came, or were they of all ages? Like some of them could also be, mothers of his friends.
I don't understand the question, actually.
So the gopis, were they of so they were the women of Vrindavan, were they just Krishna's playmates, or were they of all ages? I mean,
No, they would be of similar age, I guess. Yeah.
okay.
Because he's saying that they're young. He's saying that he was young and that they were young girls. So, that would be a similar age.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, it's a spiritual pastime, so it's not really to do with the age so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Bob.
Thank you.
All the copies, I think the pastimes was.
Mataji, you're on mute now. We couldn't hear you.
Okay, sorry, I was just saying to her question that all the gopis, with them here, the pastime was the pastime of stealing butter and then breaking their pots on their way to going to Mathura, and all that pastimes were with the older gopis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So he has a different part. He has a different rasa with the different gopis. The elder gopis, yeah, different rasa. So he behaved like a naughty child with them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So now Krishna in this paragraph is making them feel bad about they're staying there because they're very attractive looking and they shouldn't be with him, he's saying, because he will be attracted to them and it's nighttime and people will think bad of them. Okay. So he's kind of making them less, I don't know, maybe guilty. He's making them feel a bit guilty, isn't it? He's not making them feel afraid now, but he's making them feel guilty. Okay. So what does Krishna say in addition to this? Shamrani Mataji? To continue.
My dear friends, I can understand that you have left your homes without the permission of your guardians. Therefore, I think your mothers, your fathers, your elderly brothers, or even your sons, and what to speak to of your husbands, must be very anxious to find you. As long as you are here, they must be searching in different places, and their minds must be very agitated. So don't tarry. Please go back and make them peaceful.
Okay. So as Krishna is making the gopis feel guilty, it seems. Anyone else would like to comment or ask a question? Because they're not nervous by all of this by all of Krishna's words. No? They don't feel like they've done the wrong thing. So now we'll hear how the gopis feel about this. Yeah. Unless Satyanarayana Prabhu, you're going to add something.
Is there a meaning of tarry? Is it meaning of tarry is delay? Don't delay?
Tarry, yeah, like don't delay, yeah. That's right.
Oh, okay.
Don't like loiter here. Don't delay. I think that's how it means. I didn't check the dictionary. Does that sound right? Harry? Just checking it now. Sorry, my computer's a bit slow. It's similar to meaning like tardy. Tardy also means like to be slow.
Stay longer than it intended.
Yeah.
Don't delay leaving the place.
Yeah, so like loitering around or being slow. Okay, Shamrani Mataji. Unless Prabhu, do you want to add something?
Also,
Please?
in the last line, it says, please go back and make them peaceful. So Krishna makes gopis feeling good that he cares for others. I mean, their husbands as well, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, Krishna is trying to act in a very detached way to them. He's more concerned about all their relatives.
Family.
Yes. So this is Krishna's teasing. He's not concerned that they've come to the forest. Now he's like concerned, what about all your relatives at home? Make them peaceful. Yes, that's right, Prabhu. Thanks for adding.
Okay.
Yes, please.
When the gopis appeared to be a little bit disturbed and angry from the free advice of Krishna, they diverted their attention to looking at the beauty of the forest. At that time, the whole forest was illuminated by the bright shining of the moon, and the air was blowing very silently over the blooming flowers, and the green leaves of the trees were moving in the breeze. Krishna took the opportunity of their looking at the forest to advise them. I think you have come out to see the beautiful Vrindavan forest on this night, he said. You must now be satisfied, so return to your home without delay. I understand that you are all very chaste women, so now that you have seen the beautiful atmosphere of the Vrindavan forest, please return home and engage in the faithful service of your respective husbands. Some of you must have babies by this time, although you are very young. You must have left your small babies at home, and they must be crying. Please immediately go back home and just feed them with your breast milk. I can also understand that you have very great affection for me, and out of that transcendental affection, you have come here, hearing my playing on the flute. Your feelings of love and affection for me are very appropriate because I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All living creatures are my parts and parcels, and naturally they are affectionate to me. So this affection for me is very much welcome, and I congratulate you for this. Now you can go back to your homes. Another thing I must explain to you is that for a chaste woman, service to the husband without duplicity is the best religious principle. A woman should be not only faithful and chaste to the husband, but affectionate to their friends of her husband, obedient to the father and mother of the husband, and affectionate to the younger brothers of the husband. And most importantly, the woman must take care of the children.
So it's interesting to know how Prabhupada starts this paragraph by saying that Krishna is giving free advice. It's like, when someone doesn't ask you for advice and you're giving advice, this person just giving me free advice. Who is this person to just give me free advice? So Krishna is behaving in that way. He's giving them moral instructions about how to be good wives, good mothers, good daughters, and So actually what Krishna is saying is all very truthful, and it's all factual as well. But in the circumstance, it doesn't fit the circumstance which Krishna is speaking in, you see, which is what makes it contrary. And so that's how. Yes, Prabhu?
Yeah, also I believe amongst Gopas or Gopis, this is the first time Krishna says he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Am I right?
He says, your feelings of love and affection for me are very appropriate because I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna does say on other occasions as well that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, he even shows Devaki and Vasudeva as well. He's the Supreme Lord.
No, I'm talking about Gopas and Gopis actually.
Yeah.
In that one.
So Krishna does show them and tell them as well. In fact, he shows them more than he tells them. Like he opens his mouth, and Mother Yashoda can see the universe. That happens 2 times that pastime. So Krishna actually shows, even shows that he's the Supreme Lord. But then again, they become covered over. So here Krishna is only speaking, but Krishna also shows. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yeah. Thank you.
So just coming back to my earlier point, so Krishna is giving them free advice, or unwanted advice, and this makes them feel disturbed and angry. Yes. So these are Krishna's dearmost devotees, huh? And as Satyanarayana Prabhu said earlier, Krishna is putting them to different tests. Yeah, Krishna is testing them, so they're feeling a little disturbed, a little angry. Yeah, but they're not budging from their position. This is the important thing. Yeah, their relationship to Krishna is more important than their own feeling. Huh? The way that if they can please Krishna, that's more important. They're not feeling disturbed and how dare you, let me go from here. Even that Krishna will push them and disturb them, still they don't want to go, because they have a role to play in the service of Krishna. Yeah. Okay, Mataji, so we're actually up to time now, isn't it? So we'll have to round up here, and then we'll continue from next week. So Krishna continues to speak about the duties of a woman. So maybe next week we can discuss those in a little bit more detail. And then Krishna will address other points, and we'll hear what the gopis say, because they've not spoken much yet. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this is actually the wonderful thing. In ISKCON we have these wonderful descriptions of Krishna's intimate associates, his gopis, Krishna's intimate dealings, his own personality. Yeah. And so we can see how Prabhupada is the greatest preacher of Krishna consciousness. Yes. As we were reading about those who are preachers of Krishna consciousness, they're most dear to Krishna. So we can understand there's no greater, more dear preacher than Srila Prabhupada himself, who's given us all these wonderful leelas of Krishna, the actual life of Krishna, with great explanations, so that we're not misunderstanding. Yeah. I was listening to the this Prabhupada festival weekend. Did anyone else hear that? Anyone hear all parts of it? Such an amazing talks. Yeah.
Yeah, very best.
Anyone remember anything particular from that? Maybe we could from this point. One thing I could remember was that I don't know if it was Shyam Sundar Prabhu or maybe it was Akhandari Prabhu, one of the Prabhupada disciples, said how there are so many editions of the Bhagavad-Gita already available in the West in English, but none of them made anyone Krishna conscious. But when Prabhupada came with his Bhagavad-Gita as it is, then people became Krishna conscious. That actually means that Prabhupada's teachings could transform people's hearts. Yeah. And so similarly with Krishna book, our heart should be transformed. Our heart should become more attracted to Krishna. Yeah. We should be attracted to his personality. This is actually his very intimate personality. And he deals with his most intimate devotees. So we should become attracted to that. feature of Krishna. This is Prabhupada's mission, his aim. This is what makes Prabhupada dear to Krishna, that if we can become attracted to Krishna in this way. Okay. So thank you again for joining this week. It's been really nice reading with you. We'll now chant japa together. Okay.
Hare Krishna, everybody. See you all next week. Have a
Hare
lovely
Krishna.
week.
Thank you, Prabhu.